Let me ask you a question that might sound a little strange at first. Why did you wake up this morning? I don't mean what time did your alarm go off, and I don't mean what work you had to do. I mean why? What is the driving force that gets you out of bed? Now, apply that same question to your language journey. Why are you trying to speak English? If your answer is because I have to or because I need a job, you are setting yourself up for burnout. But if you can answer that question with a purpose that touches your emotions, everything changes. Today we aren't just talking about grammar, we are talking about the engine that keeps you going when the grammar gets hard. Welcome back. Today we are going to dive deep into a concept that changed the business world, and I believe it is the missing key for anyone struggling to reach fluency in English. We are looking at the philosophy behind the famous book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. You see, I watch so many students start their journey with incredible excitement. Maybe this is you. You go out and buy the expensive textbooks. You download 3 different language apps. You subscribe to 5 YouTube channels. You are ready. But then 2 weeks pass, maybe a month, and that excitement disappears. You stop opening the apps, the book gathers dust. Why does this happen? It happens because you started with the what. You focused on what book to buy, what app to use, and what words to memorize, but you completely forgot to define the why. In his work, Simon Sinek introduces something he calls the golden circle. I want you to visualize a target with 3 rings. The outer ring, the biggest one, is the what. This is the result. This is speaking English, passing the exam, or getting the certificate. Everyone knows their what. The middle ring is the how. This is your method. This is your study routine, your flashcards, or watching videos like this one. But the center, the bullseye, the small circle in the middle, is the why. This is your cause, your belief, your purpose. Very few learners start here, but this is where the magic happens. Now, this isn't just motivational speaking. This is actually how our brains work. Sinek explains that when we communicate from the outside in, starting with facts and figures, we are talking to the neocortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for rational thought and language. It understands facts, like grammar rules or vocabulary lists. But the part of the brain that drives behavior, the part that creates gut feelings and long-term loyalty, is the limbic brain. And here is the secret. The limbic brain doesn't process language the same way. It processes feelings, trust, and loyalty. It is responsible for the why. When you try to force yourself to study using only logic, saying, I must study because it is good for my CV, you are trying to use willpower, but willpower runs out. However, when you tap into the limbic brain with a strong why, you create a chemical drive to keep going. Let's look at 2 different students to see how this works in real life. First, meet student A. He studies for 1 hour every single day. He is disciplined, but he hates it. He's constantly stressed. He tells himself, I have to do this because my boss told me to. His why is external pressure. He is being pushed by fear. Then there's student B. She also studies for 1 hour a day, but she smiles while she does it. She watches movies without subtitles and doesn't panic when she misses a word. Why? Because her why is internal. She isn't studying to please a boss. She is studying because she wants to feel independent when she travels. She wants to connect with people from other cultures deeply. Student A is working hard, but student B is working with purpose. And as we see in videos discussing how great leaders inspire action, the people, or in this case the learners, who start with why are the ones who endure when things get difficult. Identity and belief. This leads us to a massive concept, identity. Your why shapes who you believe you are. I hear so many of you say things like, I'm just not a language person, or I'm too old to learn, or I'm shy. That is a belief system that protects you from pain. If you believe you are bad at English, then when you fail, it doesn't hurt because you expected it. But to succeed, you must change that narrative. Instead of saying, I have to learn English, try saying, I choose to learn English because I am becoming a global citizen. Instead of saying, I'm bad at speaking, say, I'm a learner, and learners are allowed to make mistakes. This shift takes the heavy weight of obligation off your shoulders and replaces it with the lightness of choice. Clarity over complexity. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually start speaking. A lot of you are obsessed with sounding advanced. You think you need complex grammar and rare idioms to be good. But Start With Why teaches us that clarity is more important than intelligence. People follow ideas that are clear. Imagine two people apologizing for missing a meeting. Person one tries to sound fancy and says, "Due to the unfortunate fact that I was unable to attend the previously scheduled engagement, I would like to convey my sincere apologies." It sounds robotic. It lacks emotion. It lacks a human why. Person two simply says, "I'm so sorry I couldn't make it to the meeting. I wanted to be there." Who do you trust more? Person two. Why? Because clear English is strong English. Simple English is powerful English. Don't let your ego try to impress people with big words. Use your why to connect with people through clear words. Consistency and burnout. Finally, I want to address the biggest enemy of learning: burnout. You might start with high energy, but energy is just an emotion, and emotions go up and down. You cannot rely on feeling motivated every day. If you search YouTube for how to learn English fast, you'll find thousands of tricks and hacks. But tricks don't keep you going when you are tired after a long day of work. Only your why can do that. When you are exhausted and you don't want to study, if your reason is just to pass a test, you'll quit. But if your reason is to prove to yourself that you are capable of growth, you will find 5 minutes to listen to a podcast. You will do the small work. Consistency isn't about punishment. It's not about beating yourself up. Discipline is simply the act of choosing your why again and again, even on the bad days. So, here is my challenge to you. Before you learn another new word, before you open another textbook, sit down and find your clarity. Ask yourself, why does this matter to my future self? When you stop being pushed by pressure and start being pulled by purpose, fluency is no longer a struggle. It becomes a journey you actually enjoy. If you found value in this new perspective on learning, please hit that like button. It really helps the video reach more learners like you. And don't forget to subscribe to English Glow for more content that lights up your path to fluency. I'll see you in the next one.